Good evening, and welcome to tonight's meeting of the Fort Wayne Community School Board of Trustees. We will begin this meeting as we do each time with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call of members.
Good evening, Steve Corona from the 5th District.
Glenna Yale, the 2nd District.
Tom Smith, 3rd District.
Maria Norman, member at large.
Ann Duff, member at large.
Jordan Lepemoff, the 4th District.
And I'm Julie Hollingsworth, elected from District 1. And my far left, is that stage left? Yeah, stage left, is Janet Doherty. Good evening, clerk of the board. And our superintendent, Dr. Wendy Robinson. Good evening. Good evening. So we have no awards and recognition, and next is the consent agenda, which includes approval of the minutes from the previous meeting, November 13th, vouchers and payroll, vouchers ending November 27th, payroll ending October 27th, and those, of course, are kept on file for like 7 years in case anyone wants to take a look at them. And then the personnel report. Dr. Robinson, was there anything you wanted to highlight from the personnel report?
Nothing at this time, thank you.
Okay. So do we have a motion?
Move approval of the items under the consent agenda.
Second. Okay, thanks, Steve. Thanks, Ann. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. And this is kind of embarrassing, but we have nothing else on the agenda for this evening. So our next meeting will be Monday, December 11th, and we'll hear from board members. Steve, you have anything for us?
Passed this evening, thank you.
Okay.
Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving.
I know I did. I'll pass.
I don't have anything today.
Gosh, I feel like I shouldn't say anything.
Oh, no, I've got all this.
Okay. I just wanted to promote a conference that's coming to Indy next October. This past October, I went to the Network for Public Education conference in Oakland, California. And the Network for Public Education is an advocacy group that Diane Ravitch founded. And this will be their 5th annual conference coming up this October, and they chose Indiana for their location. So I'm excited about that, a lot closer, less expensive to get there. But it is a great opportunity to meet other public education advocates from around the country. You actually get to see in person a lot of people that you've seen on Facebook because they write blogs and things like that, like Peter Green with Kerm Education, and I can't remember her name, but she's Edu Shyster, and I always thought it was a man, but it ended up being a woman. And you see, but it's a great opportunity to meet these people, or even friendships that I know that I formed some on Facebook because we have so much in common with fighting for public education. So you get to meet those people. So October 20th and 21st in Indianapolis. A great keynote speaker, very excited about that, but it's not out for public knowledge yet, but hopefully I'll know by then, or be able to announce that at the next meeting.
I'll put it in my calendar.
Steve, I'm going to call you this week. Something happened to me the day. The paralegal, Nicole, my wife's name, that I hired 10 years ago, has made a career change. Very, very amicable. In fact, I hired her daughter as my receptionist. Daughter's name, David, is Jordan. So, of course, it gets very confusing at my work that when Nicole says, Jordan, come here, I turn around, it's not me. And when Jordan says, Nicole's on line 1, I pick up and say, hi, sweetie, how are you? It's the wrong person. I have consistently focused on really 2 areas while I've been on this board for the last 7 years. One is the pyramid of success and the intervention that is offered to our students, not just those that are not performing to their highest, but those gifted and talented that need an extra touch. They need something special in terms of a push. Also, I believe the ELL program is essential to our district. It supports not just our families that are here from elsewhere, but it really is a support factor to the children amongst the group. My new focus, Doctor, is going to be career readiness, because the 2-week notice hit my desk today. And it challenged me to think, now as an employer, what do I need and who do I want? Do I need a college grad to fill this particular position? I don't. Is there a high school graduate that could fill my particular position? Yes. And I'm going to guesstimate 3 to 5%. But that 3 to 5% that can fill my position, Doctor, have greater worth outside of what I can offer them. They have greater value. They have greater potential. Do I want somebody with some college experience? I believe that, Steve, to be beneficial. I want you to have philosophy. I want you to have a little bit of chem. I want you to have math and English. I want you to have intramurals. I need the reading and writing skills. I need somebody who has the juncture to pick up the phone, and if they don't have the answer, to call and get the answer. And I want to make sure that our kids moving forward to the rest of my tenure are being given these experiences and these opportunities, because, guys, just 3:30 today, I get the 2-week notice. So the chains start moving as to what do I need and what do I believe that other employers within the city of Fort Wayne also need and deserve from Fort Wayne Community Schools. My comments tonight.
Okay, thanks, Jordan. Dr. Robinson?
That's a topic we'll talk about in one of our work sessions, because I think that seems to be the topic of the day, and everybody in the state has a completely different answer as to what the result ought to be. But I think that is obviously one this board needs to really engage in meaningful conversations about what does that mean for us.
Doctor, I heard that a lot in our community engagement.
Because it's being talked about in lots of different circles. The one circle that I'm most concerned about that is not being discussed is with our parents. And I think parents and students would give you probably the same view about them wanting to have and knowing that to get a job, even a summer job, there are lots of skills that employers are looking for. But I think we've got to make sure we've got a balance. And the other part we've got to make sure is that as that moves forward down this new pathway with the state, that the resources are going to be there to make it more than just a focus and name only.
Yeah.
Because what that means is, with us having 30,000 students, are we going to be willing as a community and as a state to put the resources there to make sure that all those kids have access to whatever opportunity? Right now, we're struggling to do that. So I don't want to get into a long kind of, and I'm agreeing that it's a topic, but I think it has to be a topic with some parameters, because what the state's putting out, for the first time in a long time, school districts around the state are starting to rally, because what you just said and what businesses need isn't necessarily the path we're on as a school system across the state to get that actually accomplished. So that's going to be a topic soon.
If I could just quickly respond to your comments, one of the challenges for our district and many other districts is to offer more work-based experiences for our kids before they leave. And I've been working with our guidance staff, and I know What they would really like are people to open doors for them with local businesses, because that's not their world. And in fact, that's one of the things that we did this past year in working with our staff and setting up tours at Parkview Hospital in Sweetwater, but there's a lot of other companies that are hiring, and they do not need people with college degrees, but they need to be, as you said, work-ready. So.
You know, I'd like to say that when we just had our community input sessions at the various high schools, that was the one thing I heard consistently. It was probably the #1 topic that people were talking about, are those basic skills. So you're right on target, and we'll address it, right?
We have to, and I think that's one of the reasons we kind of talk about it, because what most people will tell you about work-ready skills are the things that we took for granted, being on time, having a work ethic. They're those soft skills that people need. But we also have to be ready as a board and as an administration to look at the programs we offer, to see if the programs we're offering helping students make the right decisions. So it's a big topic that is gaining some traction. There was an editorial in yesterday's paper.
Yeah.
And I think the part that concerns everybody is I don't think you're going to get anybody to disagree with you, but the devil's always in the details. And if we end up not actually providing opportunities, but just more testing or more roadblocks or more hoops or more expectations, that really could discourage some students from even attempting. So that's a topic. We've got some meetings in Indy on the 5th and the 6th, and we intend to be there with the rest of the state kind of talking through it. But then shortly thereafter, we need to have that conversation in a work session and talk about, so what does all this mean? Because the words sound really good, and it's like mom and apple pie. But there's nothing worse than to give kids the illusion that you're going to give them an opportunity, and it's not there. So we're going to have to look at how we spend our resources, what things we start. And here's what we know. This conversation about graduation now starts in elementary, because some of the math and science and some of the things that higher ed are expecting kids to have. So it's a huge conversation, not one I intended to prolong the meeting tonight, but I just think it's one that everybody's talking about. And the state has some very specific plans that we have to stay on top of.
Please help me set those parameters, but allow me to be a part of the focus.
All of, as I said, well, being very honest, the state's already made it our focus. They've completely are looking to revamp every pathway that a child will take to graduate.
And Dr. Robinson, you mentioned parents. I hope parents are paying attention, but I'm not,
We've gotta
really
organize that too.
convinced that they are. But I think that, am I right, that what they're talking about, the graduation pathways and changing requirements for graduation is for freshmen, incoming freshmen in the fall of 2019?
Is it now?
I think they backed it up a year.
They're the current seventh.
Current seventh graders.
Okay, current seventh graders. So parents out there, do a little research. There's a meeting of the state board in December next week. There are state board members that you can email because it would be good for you to be part of the conversation, or at least, have an understanding of what some of the things they're talking about.
And part of our conversation, we met with the other superintendents in Northeast Indiana last week. This is a concern for all of us. It's not just Fort Wayne Community Schools. And part of what we're going to have to do as school systems is do a better job of educating parents. It's so complicated that parents want what's right for their kids, but that's going to be on us too, to make sure that they're getting information. But it's a bigger topic,
Yeah.
a much bigger topic that we may be talking about for a little while, because the state hasn't made a lot of those decisions, and a lot of it is around what kind of tests, in particular, our high school kids are going to be taking. It's a massive change in what we're doing right now.
I know that with the changes about the different pathways for graduation, if and when they finally make some of those determinations and decisions, it'd be good if we brought the parents whose kids would be affected by that together and help walk them through it, because it's kind of foreign to the way we used to do things.
Right, and Glenna, this is, as I said before, these are conversations we've got to have starting in elementary, and it has to be ongoing, and it has to be what counselors are saying and teachers are saying and administrators are saying. We're even working with Faye, some of her advisory groups. There have to be people in the community that we're going to educate on what this means too, because it's not just high school kids this will impact. And so, didn't come prepared tonight because those meetings are taking place next week, but I did send those initial documents about a week and a half ago of the thinking around it. It's gotten even a little bit more complicated than that since I sent that out. So we'll know more after the meetings next week, but we intend to be there.
Of course, right now, the indication is that the high school test is going to be either the ACT or the SAT.
Or the ASVAB, which is a military aptitude kind of test.
Well, but as far as a required high
Right.
school test, yes, those are other pathways, the ASVAB, but required high school test, which I have mixed feelings about, but so far there's no indication from the state that they're going to pay for it.
No.
And that's a huge concern, I think, so.
Well, we've been on
We'll
top of
see.
it. We've got
Oh, yeah.
counselors and our academic people, all of us are just trying to track that. But this is the first time, and I just want to say that all the county schools, all the ones in Allen County, we're lockstep with this one. Because it's going to impact all of us the same way. It's not just a Fort Wayne Community School issue.
And you mentioned getting together and meeting with other superintendents, and some of us are going to be in Indianapolis on Thursday, when our own superintendent is going to be honored as the Indiana Superintendent of the Year. So looking forward to that evening.
Thank you.
And also coming up, because this has also been talked about, I think the Indiana Chamber has come out wanting Indiana high school students to take computer science. They're talking about it as a requirement. I'm not quite sure if they really know what they're talking about there, as someone who's both taught and taken quite a bit of programming, but we'll see. But anyways, next week is the annual Hour of Code. And so that is when students and adults, you can all try it. I think all you have to do is do a search for Hour of Code. There's a website, code.org, and it gives you, I know a lot of schools plan that and work it into their lesson plans, gives you an opportunity to see, to do a little computer programming. So I know I did it a couple of years ago. It's pretty fun. And I think that's it.
All right.
No other comments? Okay, well, we meet
Move for
in...
adjournment?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The microphone is open for anyone who wishes to address the board.
Got caught there.
Seeing no one, have a good evening.
Code.